Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one Undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxy.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown, and I am your host, Mark Roxy. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great weekend. We are pumped again for another episode of the Boxing Breakdown, and if you are watching on YouTube, please do not forget to hit the subscribe, smash it, knock it out, give it a nice big punch, whatever you got to do, but make sure you subscribe, like, and share the podcast if you are listening and tuning in your drive, wherever you are, or on your headphones through Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts. We appreciate it, and we are delighted to be with you today. I would like to invite into the Boxing Breakdown my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm fired up, man. You know I'm fired up.
Yes,
You're fired up because it's going to be an outstanding episode of the Boxing Breakdown. We have some news, man. We have so much stuff to talk about. You guys know what time it is. It is fight week. And, really, there's been so much going on in the last 2 weeks, right? But tonight's episode is going to feature a little commentary on Jose Zevada and Josue Vargas's recent fight. We're gonna break down Jaron Boots Ennis versus Thomas Delorme, but really talking about the future of Boots Ennis and where we go from here. These boots are made for walking. The thing is it's not going to be walking back. It's going to be walking right up to the straps, probably all the straps, my friends. You might be looking at history being made and the future star of the boxing world. And then finally, we're going to talk about the current superstar of the boxing world right now, meaning today. And that is Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. That is going to be a barn burner. But, Harold, I just want to say, before we get started, I want to say that October delivered, bro. Would you agree?
Yes, this final quarter of boxing has been just spectacular, man. Yeah. So much is going on. And we've had so many great fights, and the controversies that have come about because of these fights. Oh, just a lot of stuff, man. I just can't wait to get started, man.
Yeah, just for the listeners, remember, we've been through the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight. We had Tyson Fury coming out as the victor for the heavyweight championships of the world, and it was quite a impressive card and quite an impressive fight. Just to say the least. We also had Emmanuel Navarrete versus Joet Gonzalez, where Emmanuel Navarrete came up victorious as well in a great fight. It's just been outstanding. We had Mikey Garcia versus Sandor Martin, where Sandor Martin came out with the victory in a very dramatic upset of Mikey Garcia. I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's been so many fights this month. We also had Shakur Stevenson versus Jamal Herring, and Shakur Stevenson won and came out with the victory against Jamal Herring, I think with the 12, I believe it was, I remember, I watched the fight. It was a 12th round stoppage or 11th round stoppage, I believe.
Yes,
Right?
11 round stoppage.
11th round. Yeah, man, that was a great fight. Shakur was very impressive in that fight. And gosh, I just could go on and on. Chantel Cameron was victorious against Mary
Yes.
McGee. Not to leave out the females for sure. And then we had the Jose Zabata versus Josua Vargas. Really dramatic first round KO. We had Jamal James versus Radazaba. Well, how do you say his last name? Butayev.
That's
And
hard.
Butayev,
You're doing great with it.
I do okay there because Butayev came out with the victory, and then of course, dramatic, dominating performance, first round dominating performance from Jerron Boots Ennis versus Thomas Delorme. So without further ado, man, let's get into this Jose Zapata, Josua Vargas. I know you got some stuff on your mind, bro. So let's get into that.
So we're going to start with the Vargas fight, right? Hey, that fight was something else. What made that fight to me, Mark, was the contrast. Now, we know the winner of that fight, which was, Mark, who was the winner?
Oh, do I know who the winner was?
Yes, the winner was
Zavada.
Now, Zavada just had the fight of the year last, 6 months ago, where he knocked out his opponent in the mid-rounds. It was a spectacular fight. They both went down back and forth. Beautiful fight of the year.
He is the real deal. He's phenomenal. That actually happened at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas during the bubble when we were still in the bubble. I think that might have been the last fight in the bubble before they ended. And you know, we were out in the bubble. I was out there with Jonathan Rodriguez. Jonathan Rodriguez. And when we were out there, I remember seeing the billboard and like the whole thing for this fight and thinking, yo, who's this Zavala guy? You know, but man, he fought Ivan Baranchek. And that was in October of last year. And it was a 5th round dominating KO. But I will say, Baranchek did a great showing because they were going back and forth against one another, man. It was fabulous. And it was, in fact, as you mentioned so eloquently, it was the fight of the year, man. And it delivered. Yeah.
So our fans, look at that backdrop. If you remember that fight, because you remember the excitement that Zapata showed by knocking the gentleman out. So fast forward to the fight the other night. He was fighting a younger man who had power and prestige, and the odds were against Zapata.
Yeah.
Now, at the press conference, there was a ruckus. And the ruckus was the brother-in-law, the brother of Zapata, did an MMA kick on someone from the opposite corner on the dais at the weigh-in. And the stare down caused a whole big ruckus or whatever. So the commission told the brother, who had been in Zapata's corner for 10 years, that he could not be in the corner on that fight.
Right.
So fast forward to the fight. The brother is sitting down, and he is the head trainer, but he's sitting down away.
Right.
Zapata is somewhat perturbed because the commission did that, although his brother did do what he did, which was deserving for him to be suspended from the ring that night. So he simply knocked his opponent out. Now, he said it was a simple maneuver. And Mark, I'm sure you saw the fight. I just want to give my quick estimation. He paused with the jab, gave a straight jab, and the right hand came straight behind it, a classic 1-2. He caught the jab, threw a jab, dropped it right in. What you got, Mark? I know you saw exactly what I thought I saw, what we
Well,
all saw, but you
yeah,
can break it down technically for us, please.
yeah, man. I mean, so first of all, a couple of important pieces about this fight, right? Um, they were both southpaws, and it was a 10-round contest, and they both came in great shape. No doubt, they were in great shape. Um, and really, it was. There's not much to really talk about except that Vargas dropped his right hand, and he also, just kind of jumped in the exchange, and he was kind of leaning, toward his left shoulder, so he was dropping over to the left shoulder, and Zavada, just like you said, just blinded him with a jab and came right behind the jab with the straight left hand, and the left hand just landed on the button, and it was, that was the beginning of the end. Really, he was able to get back up. The ref gave him a little bit of extra time, I think, a little tiny bit of extra time. He got back up, and really, Jose Zabetta was all in his space. He finished like a pro. The thing is what concerns me about Zabetta, if you're gonna be in that weight class and you're coming to fight this guy, you better be in. You're in for quite a fight, and he's been calling out the top dogs. He's been looking at some of the top dogs here, and I think he's deserving of a shot. He does go down. He has gone down. He went down in the Baranchik fight. I think he went down twice in the Baranchik fight. So, he's seen wars. And he lost. I think he lost to. Did he lose to Ramirez? I think he might have lost to Ramirez.
Yes, he's lost 2 fights.
Yeah,
He lost to Ramirez, and 1 fight he was disqualified. No, his shoulder went out. He hurt his shoulder, and so he had to lose on TKO because he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
And the other one he lost on decision.
Right.
So he's only lost 2 fights.
Okay. So I just want to also say shout out and big ups to Brad Goodman, because Brad Goodman was a matchmaker again for this fight. And you remember when we did the Baranchik and Zapata, we broke that fight down. We had a wonderful podcast. That was like a year ago. And I remember that was the last time I actually shouted out, Brad Goodman, matchmaker for Top Rank. But he does it again, man. This is just another one of those, 2 lions, facing off with one another. And, the guy with the sharper skills got the best of the other one. That's the way it was. And, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, really, really unfortunate for Josua Vargas. I know he was very, very upset about the loss. But, that's the thing with boxing. You come to boxing and you put your heart into everything. You put your heart into all your entire career. And, he was 19 and 0, right? So Josua Vargas was 19 and 0.
He was 19 and 1. He was 19 and 1.
Was he 19 and 1 coming into this fight?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Lost.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
He's 19 and 2.
Yeah, so now he's So I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't have a lot of KOs. So coming into the fight, he didn't have a lot of KOs because good pick for Zabeda. So Zabeda, if that's how I say his name right. I just want to always get that name right, bro. I love these guys. They got to get their names right. So, but yeah, so it was a great fight, Harold, and I don't know what else to say except Zabeda had a better 1-2. He came in with that nice stiff jab, and the left hand came down like a blaze of glory, bro.
Yeah, the left hand. I had it backwards, but the way he fell, when you fall face first, as you know, Mark, that's basically curtains, because if you don't have any control and you can't fall on your side or you can't protect yourself and you just fall face first,
yeah,
you're pretty much done. So when he got back up, it was just going to happen that he was going to be stopped. But
Yeah.
it was a beautiful punch, man. He set it up so beautifully, and just all the hoopla that went along with the actual fight itself just made it more dramatic.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. And I think I have a good image of the two. See if I can get it up. So there they were, where you were talking about, right before the fight.
And there's the brother to the left with the beard. That's the brother that was suspended from the ring.
Yeah, for doing. And I was going to correct you on that, Harold. It wasn't quite an MMA kick, bro. It was a kick.
What was it?
I don't know. He should take some MMA classes if he wants to do that kick right, bro. That kick was like, I thought he might have pulled a groin muscle or something when he threw it. It wasn't a good look, bro. Maybe he's better with the hands. I'm sure he is, but
I'm sure he is too.
The whole kick thing, man. It was really not. It was kind of an awkward thing. I mean, you want to break that down? Break down the kick?
Well,
I can show you the kick. Bro.
I can't really. I mean, some people say it looks like he knew what he was doing. He had some kind of discipline. I can't say, but I know that it happened, and it just caused more intrigue. And the odds were for Vargas.
Yeah, no.
Zepeda was a underdog.
But they lifted his hand, bro. They lifted his hand in victory. They lifted his hand. Jose Zepeda. Right?
So now that's the silver belt there. So he has an opportunity to fight someone for the regular belt as we go forward.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to see the odds upset. And that's what's great for boxing, when you can never know who's going to win, who's going to lose, and it just has this huge upset that you don't expect. That's what boxing is so spectacular to lots of us.
Yo, so Harold, on that note, okay, I want to ask you a question. All right, let's break down the Jaron Boots Ennis versus Thomas Delorme fight.
I saw so much in that short amount of time that he was in the ring with his opponent.
Yeah.
I saw so many disciplines put in place within, a minute or so?
Yeah.
I saw a great jab that came out immediately and found the range immediately. His opponent started trying to go to the body. He was hit to the body maybe twice, and he closed that body shot off from him. This is all within the 1 minute. Right. Then he continued to keep that jab going. It was clean. He was measuring him. I mean, he just showed a lot of savvy. And once he closed off that body shot that he was receiving, he went ahead and did what he needed to do and caught him clean. Now, the controversy is, Mark, as you know, they said it was possibly behind the ear. I've looked at it several times. I've seen different shots of it. When you're turning your head, there is nothing you can do about it because the punch was legally placed. It's just that he turned his head and he received the punch where he received it. I think it was legal. What do you think, Mark?
No, it was totally legal. I mean, it was right on the corner. It was right just behind the ear, right? It was just in the where it affects your balance and equilibrium, because that left side is, it was like a chopping axe hook, bro. It was a chopping axe hook, and it was devastating. It just, but it just shows his accuracy, and he certainly is a marksman. He certainly. He came to fight again. He was, I think, Harold, what we're looking at is we're looking at a guy who really is the future of boxing, and I'm not even going to be specific about the 147-pound division, about the welterweight division. I mean, I think he has the body type to move around a little too as he matriculates through the sport. But, I just think that we're looking at a real, prospect future. Not even a prospect. I mean, this is like the future of boxing. I
Oh,
mean,
he's here.
He's here. He's definitely here, and we're going to be talking about him for a long time. The best is by far yet to come for Boots Ennis. And if you guys are listening in and you don't know who Jerron Boots Ennis is, I don't really know. Only thing I can tell you is look him up and, take a look at some of his previous fights. But when he fights, man, you better tune in because he's definitely what I like about him is that, number one, he switches. So he can fight on both sides.
Right. I want to talk how he used that switch. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, he can fight on both sides. He knows when to make the switch on the right angles. And he has just like a boxing IQ, unparalleled to anybody in the sport right now, as far as I'm concerned. There are maybe one or two other gentlemen that I might mention in this conversation that has the IQ that Boots has. The other thing is that this guy has a work ethic, right? So this all points to his work ethic because he's in the gym. He trains all the time. If you ask anyone in Philadelphia about, who they feel is the best fighter in the state or in the city, you're gonna get the name Jerron Boots Ennis. So he definitely has made noise for a very, very long time, locally, regionally, nationally, and in the professional ranks. He's right there. He's ready for the big guys. He's been calling out some of the big guys, and he's ready. I mean, he said he'd take any of them, and actually he even mentioned what's his name,
Earl Spence.
Well, of course he'd love Errol Spence. That would be a fabulous fight. I don't think Errol Spence wants that
Thurman.
fight.
You mentioned
That's
Thurman.
what I meant. That's what I meant. Apologies for my brain capacity. But yeah, we're talking about.
And Thurman's not a champion, so that would be a good fight for him to get one of the three champions in the ring.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's a
he
big
is,
money
in
fight.
fact, he's the IBF contender. So, and the IBF is ruled by Earl Spence. So that's the opportunity he has.
I just don't see it. I don't see anybody being able to contend with this guy's ring IQ or his physical capabilities. I mean, look, he's a beast, man. I mean, just here, have another look at him if you didn't see him before. But I mean, he's a monster, and he's a switch hitter. He fights on both sides. He's equally talented on both sides.
Yes. Mark, I want to speak to that.
Yeah.
During that fight, of course, he had to take, once he hurt the man, he had to take 2 punches. And you saying they were clean punches directly to his face.
Yeah.
And he ate those punches like chocolate cake. It didn't deter him or anything. It didn't ripple to him. He continued to come forward. Now, he knew they were a mistake for him to be hit twice like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he understood that. He constantly talked about how his hand was not up in the proper position to block that. And after the fight was over, while he was running around the ring after, he was apologizing to his brother, his father, everyone. And his entire conversation was, I got hit. I had my hand here. I had my hand there. Instead of them saying, well, you won, we love you, this and that and the other, he was constantly critiquing himself seconds after he knocked the gentleman out. Now, what excited me was once he had him hurt, he switched. And when he came back to him to finish him off, he came to him at a different stance. Right. He's initially right-handed, but he came and finished him off as a southpaw. So not only his opponent dazed and hurt, he's looking for that same punch that dazed him to come through again, and it came from the other side. I've only seen one other fighter switch when they got someone hurt, and I can't remember exactly who it was. I'm sure it happens all the time, but this was just so blatant that you could see that he hurt him in one stance and finished him in the other. And it was effortless. It was smooth. it was just so well done.
His
And
transitions.
he had power in both hands. And I don't know if he's a natural southpaw or he has power in both hands, or I don't know what it is, but his technique is flawless, Mark. And that's something that I was very impressed with.
Yeah, well, we have to have him on the show for sure to talk about some of his technical prowess, but he definitely is skillful on both sides. He's traditionally a right-handed fighter, but he's skillful on both sides. I mean, the thing is that this is a guy, I'm sure in the gym over the years, he's had to switch to southpaw to fight guys who are less skilled than him. I'm sure. He's had to okay, thumb it down, bro, because you can't kill all your work, you know? So I'm sure he has had to thumb down his work, switch to southpaw, learn how to fight on southpaw, and then realize, you know what? I like my power up in the front. I think I can do this. I can make this work. And, so you end up, with a diamond at the end of that once you have worked both sides of your skill sets over the years. He's been in the gym. He's been in the gym since he was a little kid. So this isn't rocket science for him, and really he's not fazed by anybody in the division right now. He's looking around at the division going, okay, my biggest concern is who could fight me, because nobody's going to want to fight him, especially after the performance he did with Sergey Lipinets back in April, I think he fought in April of 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so he had that fight with Sergey Lipinets, and he dropped him, bro, in the 6th round, 6 of 12. He put him out, and then he comes up against Thomas Delorme and takes him out in the 1st round. So who in the 147-pound division do you know that's gonna go? Yeah, give me that guy Boots Ennis. Yeah, I'll take him. He looks like an easy fight.
Well, no one's going to touch him right now, only because they could possibly lose. But he can't even make it worth their while because he can't sell tickets as of yet. Now, yes, these 2 past performances is going to cause the boxing public to want to see him again and again. But the casuals still don't know. They still haven't seen. Now, with the knockout being so short, the copyright and the legal ramifications of that can cause a lot of media outlets to be able to afford that quick knockout and show it on all media platforms. Because if it went past certain rounds, you had to pay for it and this, that, and the other. Yeah. So since it was so short, he may get some huge looks in every medium just because it was such a brutal knockdown and it lasted so short. So it's kind of like in music. You can only use so many bars before you have to pay.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, this is how that fight is. It's so many bars, you don't have to pay. And within those bars, we get to see the knockout.
Right.
Now, I'm hoping that he has some other people call him out. And as you know, Blair, the Flair Cobb, called him out.
Oh, come on.
Mark, what do you think about that fiasco there?
Well, okay. I say that would be a stunning event. That would be a stunning boxing event. It would be exciting, must-see TV, because someone's going to get laid out. I'm not going to take sides. I'm just saying that would be a very, very exciting, dramatic WWF / WWE kind of, pomp and circumstance. But I think at the end of the day, you're talking about a yin and a yang kind of stylistically and skill level. And just to go back, the thing about Boots is that his skill is crafted in the gym. He lives in the gym. He's in the gym every day. So with a guy like Jerron Boots Ennis, it's gonna you have to be at your best. And as far as selling tickets, I mean, I don't want to start a feud. I don't want to say anything. But I'm going to tell you that the insiders in Philly, like everybody has always said, okay, well, what fight would you want to see in Philadelphia? And everybody in Philly were like, oh my God, could you imagine if Danny Garcia fought Boots Ennis, like what that would be in Philly? I mean, you're talking about they would need the stadium for that. Okay, like so, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the fact that he doesn't sell tickets. I think that he hasn't had the kind of exposure, you know, that a Danny Garcia has had. He doesn't have the kind of exposure that a Keith Thurman has had, or you know, Errol Spence, or this and that. But you know, his handlers and the guys who are working with him hopefully will take care of the business that needs to be taken care of to produce this kind of like. Okay. I think that if Boots continues the way that he's going, this might be someone that you could see down the line in the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, I'm pretty good spotting talent, and I think he's not just a fly by night, you know, couple fight guy. I think he's the real deal, bro. And I hope I'm right.
That's lofty. That really is.
Yeah.
And, you know, he has the opportunity to do that. At the present time, he's not signed with a major promoter either, who has the vehicle to get him in the public eye. Yep. And that's something he has to navigate forward too, because that would help with the seating also. I mean, if you have some people in Oregon or Portland or they may not know who Boots is. And we need that opportunity for him to be able to do that. Right. I would like for him to have a fight with Keith Thurman. Yeah. I think that would be a great opportunity for him to force his way into the public consciousness to give him one of these title fights. Yeah.
How do you think that would end up?
That would be great for him.
I mean, how do you think that would end up?
Well, first I want to go back. Danny doesn't want that smoke. He cannot tarnish his image in Philly by taking a loss to a younger man. He needs to go ahead and do what he needs to do where he is, continue to fight, and phase himself out, you know, admirably. If he fights Boots, he will be knocked out, right, and he'll have to deal with that type of stigma in his hometown for the rest of his time there, which is going to be something that he's going to have to do. You know, he'll be a hero there and all that. And you do not want to be the one that Boots knocked out. So I don't think he'll ever do that. As far as Boots going out to fight our guy, one time Keith Thurman, that would be a great fight. I see him going the distance with Thurman and winning, but I don't see him knocking him out. But he'll learn so much from just fighting that type of caliber of man. If you think about it, the only high caliber person he's fought was Lipinets. The other ones were okay. I mean, one guy came right out of jail. I mean, he literally had the jail thing on his hand, and they cut it off. And the next hours or whatever, he was in the ring with Boots. But he fought Boots very well. He fought him 6 rounds. He had Boots. He had to work, and Boots got him with some uppercuts, but he fought very well. Yeah. So we need to see Boots fight someone other than Lipinets that really has a skill set. Yeah, I'm not discounting what he's done. His opponent did very well, but his opponent, Mark, did you know, has filed a grievance with the Nevada Athletic Commission stating that punch was illegal and therefore he lost the fight. Now, they're not going to overturn it, but he's launched a formal appeal.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't know that, Harold. Do tell me some more, because I didn't realize that Thomas Delorme filed a grievance. So this fight happened at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, but I didn't know that, you know, so he filed at the Nevada State Athletic Commission a grievance against the punch being from behind the head.
Yes, he did. He did
okay. So tell me more. How does that work, and what's the process for that?
Well, from what I know about commissions, being a part of them and understanding belts and all that kind of stuff to the level I'm at, he has every right to file that. If he feels that he can foul that, he should do that. He's
Right.
gone on his Instagram and he has a photo of the punch landing on his head in a certain position. Now, of course, you're not going to see that in real time. And if you can go frame by frame by frame, you could see anything you want to see to make your case.
Well,
Now, I've never seen any commission overturn anything like this, because this is like on the borderline. And as I
right.
said earlier, when you turn your head in a fight and you
Yeah.
have to get your head in a position and it's not an intentional blow to your ear, it's deemed legal. But he's doing this because he feels like he didn't get justice. He is not saying that he anything negative about Boots. He just said that he deserves justice because in his mind it was not, in fact, legally placed punch. But it won't get overturned. It'll create more drama. Maybe it'll give him a rematch, or maybe it won't. Maybe it gets the public to pay more attention to Boots. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We don't know. That appeal just was filed today.
Right. Well, listen, more to come on that. I didn't know that. We'll have to make sure we cover that on the next episode for sure, because I wasn't aware that there was a grievance that was filed, but check it out. I'd like to just jump a little bit for the fans and just give them a little update on the Teofimo, the takeover, Lopez versus George Ferocious Camboso Jr., fighting for the WBA, WBO, IBF titles, and really just kind of give everybody an update. I don't know, since the last podcast, we try to cover a little bit on these guys all the time. Listen, stay tuned, because we are going to try to get senior and junior on the podcast to talk about this upcoming. This is a fight that's way overdue, man. This was supposed to happen in September. It was supposed to happen in October. It was supposed to happen in, it's been, there's been a lot of issues around this fight. And I'd like them to talk a little bit about how we got where we are. But the fight is scheduled to be on DAZN on November 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you are not going to want to miss that fight, man. That is, Harold, going to be... I mean, honestly, I'm really, really looking forward to that fight.
Yes, I see that Kambosos, his fear and his apprehension is gone now. I mean, it's totally gone.
Yeah.
He is to the point now where he's not even worried about what could possibly happen, because he is so frustrated to a point. And he has gone past that emotion where it's going to help him actually in the ring, because he is not even going to be worried about anything Lopez happens to do, because mentally he's been already dragged through it. So he'll go in there with a clear mind, and I think he'll be able to execute his game plan, whatever that may be. Now, the thing I see is possible ring rust on either one of those guys.
Right.
So we'll see who, navigated this back and start and stop and start and stop. But mentally, I think George has a great advantage. Now, to me, Mr. Lopez, he's got to prove to the world, because he's been taking it from all sides. Yes, he got sick. Yes, he didn't want to go to Australia. Yes, this. Yes, that. Yes, this. But the public looks at him as the catalyst for all this. So he's got to prove that. Kambosos doesn't care at this point. He just wants to fight, and his apprehension is gone.
Right. I agree with you. I just wanted to touch base on what you said about ring rust. So you believe that one or both of these gentlemen may end up coming to the fight with a little bit of shaky-dakey ring rust?
There's always a possibility. You being a trainer, you know how ring rust can affect you if you don't keep constant, hard sparring. And with the change of continents, if you will, and states and venues, I mean, it's got to be hard to keep that consistent, heavy, good sparring available.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that discipline, Mark, but enlighten me.
Well, first of all, let's just say, uh, I prefer not to be in the ring at all. I mean, because that's not my place, right? I'm out of the ring. I like to be out of the ring, but I definitely think that sparring plays an important role um, in their conditioning and their sharpness. You can't really get sharp when you're not in the ring. And so, yeah, sparring plays an important role in the development of a fighter and the consistency of a fighter. But, I know that both of these guys are sparring regularly. They are getting work regularly. They both have the budgets and I would say the cash flow behind what they're doing to make sure that they have the proper sparring. So, I don't really think it's an issue of sparring. I think it's just an issue of like who comes ready, who's more distracted with being, in the public eye and kind of like, schmoozing around and doing the Hollywood thing, or who's really doing the work. So,
Well, as far as the work is concerned, if we know anything from the father's got that young gentleman working, keeping sharp. So that's good.
yeah, I mean, I
Both
don't think
is the soul
I
falling
don't
from
think
his
Camboso.
family, though.
I haven't heard anything about Cambosos. So, my guess is that he's like, he's cramming on a test, bro. He's out there studying, like really studying hard and doing his work and preparing for this fight. And that's what he's been doing the whole time. I don't think there's ever been a time where he hasn't been preparing. So that's what makes this fight so compelling, because the longer it gets stretched out, the more time he has to prepare, the more studying the team gets to do. And, I don't know who that favors. I really don't. But I will
You don't
tell
think they
you.
can overthink it, Mark?
Huh?
They can overthink it, look for tendencies that aren't really there because they've already analyzed and picked out everything. And to continue studying, they could find more that really isn't there
Well, that's
and
an
change the
interesting.
game plan the wrong way,
That's a
thinking
very
that this tendency is there when it really isn't because they've had so much time to study him.
well. I've never heard of that before, but I mean, it's possible. I never heard of overstudying for a test. I mean, I think that when you look at the tendencies of a fighter and you see there, it's not so much the tendencies, it's really the habits, right? So when you're looking at the habits of a fighter, as you're breaking down the film, you can see what the fighter's doing. The issue here of what I'm trying to say is that the longer he's training, the less issues he's going to have that you saw in the last fight, because they're going to try to clean that out. It's like wiping the hard drive, and making a new fighter. So, I mean, a good trainer and a good team, not because, it's not just one trainer, it's the whole team. They were probably thinking about things like that. Like, how can we put together, a fighter that shows up that doesn't look like the fighter that showed up in the last fight? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, as you said, habit is a habit, and if that's identified early, they can really find the tendencies of that habit. I just think that there's a possibility that they may focus on the wrong habit because that's the habit that
What
they
habit
think
would
is
you what
is
habit
the
would
one
you
they really
focus
need.
on? What habit would you focus on?
Well, with him, I
With
would focus on him
Teofimo.
coming straight in, walking you straight down. He just comes in on the line, his head's on the line. He's squared up. I think Lopez definitely needs to change that. I mean, I'm sure he will, but I've seen him just walk straight in and, head on the line, squared up at times when he's attacking. And, I'm sure that's been corrected, but that's what I saw a while back.
Okay. And what about Cambosos? What do you see for Cambosos?
I haven't seen enough of him to really identify any tendencies or habits or anything he really does. And it's been a while since I've watched him, and nothing really stood out to me other than at the time I feel like he was just a mediocre fighter. So of course I've been educated further, but I haven't watched him recently to really answer your question. But I do know what I think about Mr. Lopez.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I just I kind of see that a little bit differently. I see that certainly every fighter has weaknesses and every fighter has things that can be exploited. You just have to be able to look at it and really study what is so and what's available, but that's up to his team. I'm sure they'll figure that out, but I don't see Lopez coming in. I know. I remember when we had Senior on the program the last time.
Good.
He was like, he dropped the bomb that he has this thing called a pyramid, and you just flipped out about the pyramid. You were like, "Yo, I need to know about the pyramid. Tell me what is this pyramid?" And then we had him on again the next time. And that was that hilarious episode when he was in the car. Remember when he was in the car and like
he got out the car. That thing went viral, man.
That thing went viral. It did. It was a great. I mean, he was so authentic that night. He was so in his zone, and he was so passionate and so upset at what had transpired with Bob Arum and Todd the Bluff and the whole crew at Top Rank. And it was right when it was hot. I called him like the week after it all happened, and he was like so upset about it. And again, he doesn't get upset for himself. He gets upset for his son, and it's this whole thing. But I remember I remember how it was cutting out, and his audio was cutting out, and he was just freaking. He was on fire. Senior, you were on fire. If you're listening to the podcast or you watch it on YouTube, bro, you were. I can't wait to get you on the next time because you're.
But that passion
is so authentic, bro.
But that passion definitely, translates to his son's style, the way he conducts his interviews, in the ring itself. So it's going to be interesting. It really is, because they've gone through so much just to get to this point, man.
Yeah, and it's going down. It's going down on the 27th.
It's going down.
The 27th of November on DAZN. Get your subscription. Get in there. Buy that DAZN, because you know what? It's not just this fight. They do a lot of really great fights. A lot of great fights happen on DAZN. So make sure you get over there and get what you get. There's lots to talk about. So guess what, man? It's time. We are at the time where it's time to turn it up, baby. Let's go. It's time to talk about Saul Canelo Alvarez versus the Caleb Plan WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO super middleweight title on the line. All the belts for all the marbles, bro.
There's no franchise. There's no intern. This is the number one belt for each of the organizations. I can just imagine the split on the sanctioning fees that Canelo has to drop to defend all four of these belts. Oh my gosh. But we'll go into something else, but that's very interesting if you look at the financial piece of that. I have an observation, Mark.
Yeah.
I was looking at the weigh-ins, the press conferences. Caleb Plant is so much taller and bigger than Alvarez. Now, so was the middleweight guy he fought, and he knocked out Kovalov. Yes, he was. Oh, look at that. Look at the support for Canelo Alvarez.
Am I excited about the fight, or what do you think, bro?
You absolutely are. You gotta turn the hat around though. It's backwards.
All right, it's back. Yo, man, this thing doesn't fit me, bro. It hurts my head when I try to put it on. It doesn't fit me. It was for my son.
It's still backwards.
Is it?
It goes. The heavy part goes in the front.
Oh, it fits.
No,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
No, it isn't. Is it?
No, it's the other way. It's yes. It's like the heavy part goes in the front. There you go. There you go. No,
Okay.
keep turning. Keep turning. Keep turning the other way. Keep turning all the way around. All the way around. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Like that. All right. That's how a hat is supposed to be worn. Floyd wore it backwards on purpose to upset the Mexican fans. The correct way to wear that hat is like that, because the rain comes off and it drains off in the back.
Right.
That is why that hat is thusly. But anyway, I like the way that you are supporting Mr. Alvarez.
Well, I'm
Well
just
done,
supporting.
Mark.
Listen, I'm supporting the fight. I think the fight itself is going to be outstanding. And honestly, like, you have to give credit where credit's due. I mean, who knows? Maybe Plant's going to come in with a hat too. I mean, this is a guy who is really the creme de la creme in the sport. He's the biggest attraction in the sport right now. So, you know what? And he does come from Mexico, right? So, hey, yo, what are you gonna say? You know, it's you gotta show him some love, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm looking at Caleb Plant, not acknowledging that culture in his ring walk attire at all.
Right.
I think it's going to be something he's not going to mock or acknowledge that that culture, and he's going to leave that to Canelo, of course, to come in with all that type of garb and the music and all that. I think Caleb Plant's going to come in a complete different contrast, more of a modern, stylish situation. So I'm looking forward to his work either. But as I said earlier, he's so much taller and bigger. If you look at the pictures, you're like, wow, I didn't know he towered over Canelo in such a fashion.
Yeah, well, he's Canelo's coming up, right? He's coming up in his weight, so this is not your everyday fight, man. I mean, what Canelo's trying to do is really make a little history here, right?
Yes, this is history. Now, everyone is saying Plant is at least good enough to go 12 rounds. Now, remember how Mikey had to fight Earl Spence, and he had to use his skill just not to get knocked out. So the last 7 rounds or so, Mikey was like, I got to use the skill that I've learned not to get knocked out so I can go the distance. People are saying that there's a possibility that Plant may have used his skill just not to get knocked out, because once he drops the power on Canelo and it doesn't affect him, then he has to keep Canelo off of him to survive not being knocked out. And that added weight and height may help him not be a knockout victim.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
On the other hand, they're saying Canelo gives away rounds. He'll give away 4 to 5 rounds to figure you out. And at that point, he could possibly lose on points if he gives away 5 rounds.
Right.
So there's so many contrasts back and forth on this fight. I still can't really pick who I would like, who I can say. I would like. I think he's going to go the distance. Yes, I do believe that. But I don't really know how it's going to go. Now, we know it's hard to get a decision against Canelo. Even with Floyd, someone gave him a draw. He easily lost every round. With Laura, he supposedly, I believe he may have lost. And then with Golovkin, he lost, and they gave him a draw. So you have to really, you have to really beat Canelo so convincingly, so it won't end up in a draw. So it's going to be hard for him to get a decision he has to win 7 rounds so clearly, that it can be seen by anyone for them to give him that decision. A split decision.
Well, you got to also understand it's not an easy fight in any way, shape, or form for either one of the fighters, because they're both taking a tremendous risk by making this fight. Risks in different ways, right? I mean, and the thing that should be noted is Canelo Alvarez's record is 56 wins with 1 loss to Floyd Mayweather, 2 draws, and 38 wins coming by way of big KO. Caleb Plant is 21-0 with 12 wins by KO. So he has roughly a 57% KO ratio, and Canelo has a 65% KO ratio with almost, at least double, almost triple the number of fights. So, what you're dealing with is experience here. There's a lot of experience going into this fight. I just don't know how he does it. I don't know how Caleb Plant gets it done. I know that people are talking about it, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about the fact that, what do you think about this stuff? I know that there's been some rumors that there might be some other people that want to have a fight with Canelo Alvarez, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
After this Plant fight?
Yeah.
He has the opportunity to hold on to these belts. The sanction, if he wins this fight, the sanction bodies, all 4 are not going to be in any rush to make him defend it. So he can move up and go ahead and fight move up to the next weight class. And you got Bivol there, and you've got another gentleman there who's a champion. Better be if I said it correctly.
Benavidez, yeah.
Yes. Now, if Alvarez is smart, he'll go ahead and fight Bitrov and take his belt, and then he has the cachet to go ahead and fight the other gentleman for his belt.
Right.
There's a possibility that if he works the way he needs to work, and because of his style, that body punching style, he could simultaneously be the 4-belt champion in the super middleweight division and the next division above him, because all 3 of those guys can be beat.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is who I think he will go to, because I don't see anybody else around him. Charlo may move up, but that's not really something that needs to be done right now.
That won't be
Benavidez, he wants it, but he can't really sell tickets either, because boxing purists thinks that he has the best chance. But him going up to another weight class as an undisputed champion in the lower weight class, that's going to get the eyes of the world on him.
Yeah. Well, listen, what a great opportunity. What a great opportunity for Caleb Plant. I mean, really, when you think about a guy who's got a record of 21-0, fighting a guy who's 56-1, this is a major monumental opportunity for Caleb Plant to come in and shock the world. And Harold, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Things have happened in the boxing world over the years that have been more shocking than would be this fight if Caleb Plant came off with a victory. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for Caleb Plant to be able to garner a victory in this fight. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is, how much do you think Caleb Plant is taking a look at Floyd Mayweather's roadmap and game plan, blueprint, if you will, for victory over Canelo Alvarez? Do you think that even has any kind of validity at this point in the sport?
Yes, even that Lara fight gives him a great understanding of how to best Canelo. And he can look at how he stood in Alvarez stood in the pocket with Golovkin and traded. So he gets to see everything that Canelo has done in 2 fights. Well, 1 fight that he lost to Floyd.
Right.
The Lara fight, which some people say he lost, but he was vulnerable and he was exposed some, if you want to say that. And then he got to see how he fights on the inside because he stood in the pocket the whole fight with Golovkin. So if he looks at all of that and figures out how he can be productive inside with Canelo, he sees what Lara did and he sees what Floyd did, he can put together something that could really work, providing he can stay prone for the 12 rounds.
Yeah. Well, you know that Floyd Mayweather fight, I mean, that took place in 2013. I think it was 2013.
13?
Yeah, and that went, I mean, it did go the distance.
2.
It went the distance, So, he went the distance with Floyd. Excuse me. And Floyd Mayweather at the time, he had a couple of wins prior to that. He had KO'd actually, he beat Ricky Hatton. He beat Juan Manuel Marquez. He beat Shane Mosley, all in 12-round decisions. He KO'd Victor Ortiz in the 4th of the 12th round, 4 of 12 rounds. He beat Miguel Cotto in a 12-round decision. He beat Robert Guerrero in a 12-round. Saul Canelo Alvarez in a 12-round. And after that fight with Saul Canelo Alvarez, he went on to fight Marcos Maidana for a 12-round victory. He then went and fought Marcos Maidana again for another 12-round victory. He beat Manny Pacquiao for a 12-round victory. He fought Andre Berto to a 12-round victory. And then his last fight, he TKO'd Conor McGregor in 10 of 12. But, I mean, when you look at that, the thing is Floyd Mayweather against Canelo Alvarez, Floyd just did what Floyd does, which is he knows how to win. He has the blueprint of how to fight the fight and win. He doesn't have to knock you out. He's not interested in knocking you out. He's interested in winning the fight, winning the exchange, winning the round, and I think that's, I wonder if Canelo, if Canelo understood that when he fought Mayweather, how Mayweather was able to win that, fight because, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the only fight that went the distance, Canelo went the distance with Danny Jacobs.
Yes.
He went the distance with Gennady Golovkin.
Yes.
Twice. Julio Cesar Chavez. He went the distance with Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yes.
He went the distance with Miguel Cotto.
Yes, he did.
He went the distance with Arislandi Lara.
Which was the fight in question. Floyd type application was put on him as far as the movement, the footwork.
Right. But you see what I'm saying? I think that he kind of understands going the distance, especially after he had that. He fought Sergey Kovalev. He fought him 11 to 12. He KO'd him in the 11th round. He fought Daniel Jacobs, beat Daniel in 12 of 12. He stopped Rocky Fielding 3 of 12, right? He goes on to fight Callum Smith, 12 of 12, and then Yildirim. Remember when we covered that? He stopped Yildirim with in 3 of 12. Billy Joe Saunders. Y'all remember what happened to Billy Joe Saunders with the orbital bone fracture? He stopped him in the 8th round, 8 of 12, and now he's going for Caleb Plant. And if you go back and look at Callum Smith, gosh, how tall was he? Even Sergey Kovalev, man. I mean, Sergey Kovalev is a relatively big guy. He's 6'0", right? He's 6 foot tall.
That's true. But at the time, he was having some physical issues where Kovalev was enjoying, some of the things that you don't do as a
Right.
fighter. He enjoyed the alcohol and the party and all that, and that kind of caught up with him in that fight because he didn't have the resilience to continue his work with Alvarez, and he just kind of got depleted. That's the biggest guy that Alvarez has knocked out. All the guys that were bigger than him, he won on decision. He's knocked out
Yeah.
all of the ones who were smaller.
Hmm. Alvarez.
Khan and some of the other guys, he took those out. But the ones that were bigger than him, he won. Uh, he either hurt them and put them out, but he didn't like knock them out.
No.
He broke the gentleman's orbital bone and this and that and the other. He had to stop, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, because Callum Smith was 6'3". I mean, Alvarez is 5'8", and he goes in and he fights a 168-pound, 6'3" Callum Smith.
and he went to that body like
Yeah,
he went to that body.
he's
Beautiful work.
he's a master of going to the body. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders was really only, I think, 3 inches bigger than him. He fought probably like 5'11", somewhere in there. So, I mean, the point is like you say, so what's your prediction? I mean, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen in the fight with Caleb?
Well, as I said a couple weeks ago, I think he'll be stopped between rounds 7 and 9.
Okay.
I think the towel will be thrown in. I think his corner is going to see so many punches coming
Yeah.
that they just feel like they need to throw it in. Now, of course, he's going to have his wife at the ringside. That's a whole emotional thing
Yeah.
that could go against him because
Sure.
if he's losing, she is going to just be very animated about the situation, and
Yeah.
they'll be looking at her and that type of thing, and that it will come in. Plant's legs are good. He's in excellent shape. He's not going to go down unless he's hit straight, clean on the button so many times where his brain is just concussed, where he's not going to get up. But as far as going the distance, that's
Yeah.
a great possibility. Now, Alvarez doesn't like beat you up. What happens with him is it's when he gets you, it's shocking. I mean, he's hitting you. Yes, you're being hit, but when he hits you with that ending punch, it's so shocking. It just takes you out. I mean, there's no like, okay, this one was heavy, the next one was heavy, the next one was heavy, then you're out. No,
Right.
he's giving you heavy shots, and all of a sudden that one, bam, and that is it. You are out. So it's not an accumulation with him other than the body work. But when he hits you with that punch, you're not getting up. It's a one powerful punch that came from nowhere, and it's
Yeah.
been set up perfectly.
So that's what concerns me about the fight because I'm hoping that Caleb Plant doesn't think that the right game plan is to stand there and trade with this guy because I don't see that. I don't see that as being a good working plan for Caleb Plant because he's not going to outfight Canelo Alvarez on the inside. He's going to have the legs to move and stick and move the entire fight. I mean, what do you think?
Well, yes, if he can stick and move the entire fight and win on points, he can do the shoe shine thing that Leonard did with Hagler and possibly win on points, providing the judges don't feel the pressure of the occasion and Alvarez.
Right.
Or he may have to use his legs to survive, as I stated earlier. So we have to see. We just don't know what's going to happen with that, Mark. I just can't see it
Right.
other than he doesn't have the power to keep him off of him, but he
Right.
has the legs to keep away from him, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Canelo Alvarez is a tremendous fighter. He's an incredible body puncher. He also has a very, very accurate way of fighting. So I'm concerned also about that cut because if that cut, if Caleb Plant has all that scar tissue and stuff opening up, what happens when that happens, and when does it happen?
It's
Because
under
if
the
it
eye,
happens
Mark.
early, it's going to be an early night. I don't see it going more than 6 rounds if that cut opens up early in the fight. So if Canelo Alvarez targets that, the scar tissue on Caleb Plant's face, I think that could be an early round, right? It could be early.
Which cut are you talking about? The one over the eye that he had in the past, or
Yeah,
this one
the
he
ones,
got at the press conference?
no, just the ones that he has over his eyes that seem to be,
They come open all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, if Canelo is that close to Caleb Plant in the fight, I don't think it'll be the cut that will, have him lose the fight unless they stop the fight because of the cut. You see? I think that it's going. If he's that close, fighting that close, I'm more concerned about the body attacks and the combination punching up close like that with all that power, because I don't think that Caleb Plant, no disrespect, he has great hand speed, definitely great hand speed, but I'm not sure that he can exchange in the inside like that with the shorter guy.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how it is. But Golovkin was around Plant's size. Golovkin stood in there with Canelo,
right,
and he held his own. So if there's any kind of indication of how to work on the inside against Canelo, that will be the only successful type of situation you could see.
right.
But yeah, I think he has to move, and I think he has to move and try the pot shot. But Canelo will take 1 or 2, man, to deliver what he needs to deliver.
Yeah,
he has no problem with that at all, man.
No,
and
he's
going to get that body. He's going to get that body. There's no way you can't stop him from getting to the body, other than just not being there. And he's really going to have to not be there, not to take them body shots.
Yeah,
For
man.
real.
I agree.
So,
he gets hit with those body shots, it's going to be an ambulance trip to the hospital, bro.
Good sound effect right there. It's going to be a biggie. But hey, I'm looking for a stoppage by the referee because of the pounding he's going to be taking. I don't see him laid out or nothing like that.
How about you guys out there listening in on the podcast today? I'd like to know what you think. Make sure you leave your comments and subscribe and hit the notifications and let us know what you think. Do you think it's going to be an early fight? Do you think it's going to be a late fight? Who do you think is going to win? Let us know. We want to chop it up with you. Your comments mean a lot to us, and certainly we'd love for you to get in on the conversation here now or down the road. Just share the podcast with friends. Let everybody know what's up. And man, Harold, it is always a delight to be with you, man. I just am so excited for this fight. I really am. I mean, I can't even tell you. This fight is going to take place, right? It's Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant, Saturday, November 6th on Showtime pay-per-view at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Make sure that you are there. Don't be square, right? Spend the money. You will not be disappointed. And you are listening to the Boxing Breakdown. On behalf of Harold Hunt and myself, I want to thank you guys for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And we hope that we can, spend more time with you in the coming weeks, man, for sure. We have, trying to find my outro music here, bro, but we have a podcast that we do once a week, right, Harold? And
yes, we do.
Yeah, and you guys make sure you tune in. If you haven't listened to the past podcasts, please get on there and check out the podcast that we've produced. I think we're on episode 58 or something. I mean, we've been at this thing, right? There's some very, very educational podcasts, and most recently we've been doing a lot of coverages of different fights, and I think it's really fun. It's a great way to archive some of the history of the sport, and yeah, man. Be with us, join with us. We can't wait to see you at the fights or here on the Boxing Breakdown. And until next time, peace and love. We are out.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxy and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxy.